Hey there, welcome to day 5 of Get Up and Go, the Get Up and Go free challenge, 30-day challenge this whole month to help us make sure that we are better off at the end of this month than we were at the beginning of this month as we all go through the unbelievably, unimaginable, unpredictable challenges that are associated with this COVID-19 pandemic, right? We're in a pandemic. We're in a time in our history, at least in my history, and I'm old, where I have never seen or experienced anything like this. And I will honestly admit that I hope that I never do again. But the truth is we are all in the midst of it, and so we need to figure out how we're going to deal with it. Now, today's topic, today's journey is all about change. And it's not about how to do it or anything. It's about analyzing and looking at how do you personally respond to change? How have you responded to change in the past? And how are you responding to changes in things right now? Now, I just changed my mind on the exercise we were going to do today because as I was thinking about and taking notes on my previous change process and the way I do change now, it's very, very different. And tomorrow we'll go through, I'll give you a little preview of what we're going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to go through what I call the challenge process. There's a process that we can go through to deal with challenges that makes it really, really effective, and it really empowers us and makes us the master of the challenges and the obstacles and the things that come up in our life that might push us over the edge or make us want to quit moving in a certain direction or quit going after a goal or a dream that we have, such as building our business or being in a relationship, whatever. There's things that will happen along the way that will challenge us and stop us. And they usually involve some sort of change. So what I want you to do today is think about how you react to change. A change happens, you hear about a change, something happens that changes your thinking or changes what you wanted to do or changes your plans, and just note what process do you go through, because all of us already have within us an automatic change handling process. When something happens, a change happens, we go into this thing automatically and subconsciously without even thinking about it. So I, a minute ago, thought about, okay, what was my old way of handling change? And I need my magnifying glass so I can read it to you because it's kind of embarrassing. Well, whenever a change would happen in my old life, I would automatically, usually I'd get pissed off, right? I'd get mad because I like routine. I like things to go along smoothly and be the same. So I would, of course, the first thing that would happen is I would get upset. I would ask, well, why is this changing? Why does this have to change? I'd feel like a victim. I'd complain. I would maybe bitch, worry, moan, and resist at all costs the change, right? Even if it was a change for the good, I was going to resist it just because it was a change and it was something different. Then I would get upset and I would look for ways out. I would look for ways to sabotage or not do the change or to get out of having to do it. And it might be something as simple as changing the way we did something at my job, at one of my jobs or at work, or my way of looking at the pace at which other people were working or doing something or doing a task. And I would get super duper frustrated. I still found myself, even as soon as maybe even a few months ago, if something on the computer, say a social media program like Facebook, or if you do anything on social media a lot, you'll notice that they change all the time, right? And they don't give you any notice. There's no way that Facebook can let 2.5 billion people know that they're going to change something on their platform or their algorithm. Some changes are awesome and really good. Other changes are super inconvenient and we have to figure them out. And sometimes they'll change something and you'll just figure out the new way of how you're going to do it, and then they change it back. Super frustrating. And I used to get really frustrated by that because I thought, it was an assault to me personally, and why would they change this? Why does this need to change? And then I would get upset, I would resist it, and I would, try to do anything I possibly could to not have to deal with the change. Well, it didn't work out very well for me from a, personal relationship standpoint, from a health standpoint, from a frustration and stress level standpoint. And so over time, I decided I needed a more effective way of dealing with and handling change. And I went from being a focus on the problem way of looking at change to a focus on the solution way of looking at change. And I started to get excited about whenever a change would come down the pipe. So I would tell myself, instead of being frustrated or upset or feel like the victim, what about this was good? And I would start looking for the good in the change instead of always looking for the bad things in the change, right? And we can do the same thing with the situation we're in right now, believe it or not. We can look at all the things that we're not allowed to do, that have stopped, that have impacted us in a negative way. And I guarantee if we do that, we can get super duper upset, stressed out. We can probably actually make ourselves sick and make our personal situations absolutely positively worse. Or we can look at the situation kind of how I look at change now, and I can see it for, okay, it is what it is. I don't have to have a negative or a positive charge on it. It's just, this is the current set of constraints that I now have to deal with. Whether it's in my life, whether it's on the computer, whether it's in a relationship, whatever it is, this is what it is right now. And we can only ever deal with what something is right now, right? We can't deal with the past because it's gone. We're certainly not certain about the future. If anything, this pandemic has taught us the ability to live with uncertainty and deal with uncertainty. So my new process now is to be solution focused, get excited about the change, and challenge myself to implement and make the change work for me instead of against me. Because absolutely everything that happens around us and to us can be turned to work for us or against us. I say, I want stuff to work for me. I want to set my life up so that it's easy and fun and successful, not so that it's, drudgery and challenging and stressful and I'm living in negative emotions all the time. So now my process looks more like, okay, I wonder how this change happened. I don't really care necessarily. I just figure out, well, what are the new constraints? What do I need to deal with? And then I take the emotions out of it. All the negative emotion, all the doubt, the worry, the fear, the frustration, all the wondering, how can this happen? All the victim thinking, all of that thrown out the window. And I start to get excited about what else is possible. What could be possible? How can I take this change and make it absolutely, positively be a benefit for me and my situation instead of being a detriment to me? And anything, stuff around us, we associate emotions and intent to things that often isn't there, right? If somebody says something to us that hurts our feelings, we figure that they're out to get us or they want to hurt us. And chances are they didn't even think about it. Now, some people are evil and they do that, but for the most part, people are awesome and they just are going about their merry way and about their own business, and they say stuff and they do stuff that we might take wrong or that they never even intended, and we get our feelings hurt. And that's up to us to realize that everything around us happens. It just happens, and we get to interpret it. We get to decide what it all means. Kind of like language and words and idioms and things that other people do and say. It's always up to us to filter it through our own, filters and subconscious and our own past experiences to decide what does it mean for us. And a lot of times we can just say, okay, well, yeah, they said that, so what? That was kind of rude, but it doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't have to affect me. So we get excited, and then we look for solutions. I look for solutions now, and I analyze the possible solutions, and I really expanded and opened up my belief in terms of what is possible. What could some possible solutions be, or what could the change mean? Then I pick the one that I want to explore and put into effect or take action on, and then I do it. I just do it and I test it, and then I see what happens. If I get a good result, I might do more of it. If I get a bad result, I'm gonna try something else. But I get excited about all the possibilities that are associated with the change. I don't freak out about what I can't do any longer. I actually learned this from dealing with chronic pain. I had chronic pain when I was younger and was actually bedridden for several years in my 20s, which really sucks when you're in your 20s and supposedly your prime of life and you can't even get out of bed. And for about 2.5 of those years, I felt sorry for myself and I felt like a victim, and I tried to figure out, why did this happen to me? Why me? Why am I sick? Why am I bedridden? Why can't I do all the things that all my friends and all the people my age are doing and have all the cool experiences that they are? And it wasn't until I shifted my thinking on that and said, okay, instead of looking at all the things I can't do, what can I do? And when can I feel in between the pain? And what can I do moving forward? And when I started to do the things I can do and thinking about those and building on those, all of a sudden I could do more and more and more and more things. And instead of missing the things I couldn't do, I had to focus on the things that I could do. And pretty soon I was capable of doing all kinds of things that I thought I wasn't capable of doing. And that's where I learned about switching my thinking and the power of that to actually create and get what I want. So today, all we're doing with all that meandering is we're looking for what is your automatic response and way of handling pain, or not pain, sorry, your way of handling change. Change can be painful, right? Sometimes change is painful. And we can choose for it to be painful, or we can choose for it to be an opportunity for us. But it doesn't matter. We're not looking at what it should be, right? What it should be, or how to get through it easier for us. We're looking at, what is it? What do I do right now? What do I do right now? When this pandemic and everything hit, how did I respond? What did I do? Well, in the olden days, and a lot of people are, I would have freaked out. 10 years ago even, I would have a very different response to what's going on right now in the world than I had, a couple of weeks ago. A couple of weeks ago, I was like, okay, well, this is interesting. I've never seen anything else in my lifetime. What's going to happen next? And instead of dreading things, I looked at it as an opportunity and possibility, and what can I do? And even my 4-year-old granddaughter and I, we sat down and we brainstormed all the fun things we can do now that we have more time together, because I hang out with her during the week, so her parents can still do what they do. And instead of her going to 4K because school's been canceled, we brainstormed this cool list of all of these things we can do, all these fun, amazing things we can do with what we've got right now. We didn't go out and get a bunch of stuff. We didn't go buy a bunch of stuff. We didn't get a bunch of resources. We went down to the basement. We went on a little expedition to see, well, what could we find? What could we find that we could do fun things with, or crafts with, or do plays with, or do whatever? And we made this giant list, which we expanded a week ago, because we found out now that our 2-week or 3-week program was going to be another month through the end of April. But we didn't get upset about it. We don't freak out about it. She talks about the coronavirus and when we get past this, and playing with her friends and things. But for the most part, we've got so many things that we can do and so many activities that we just keep moving forward. Now, I am looking at this as a gift, because never in my wildest dreams would I have anticipated that I would get to spend so much time with this incredible little human being. Now, I'm sure there's some people that are freaking out and saying, oh my God, what am I going to do with my kids? Da, 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 da. And again, 10 years ago, my kids would have been teenagers, and it would have been a whole different set of challenges to deal with. But, and my businesses were different, everything. But it didn't happen then. It happened now. So one of the secrets that I learned along the way was I have to focus on what is going on right now, and not freak about what could happen in the future or what happened in the past. What is the situation right now, and what am I going to do about it? So today, all we're going to do, I'm going to give you an exercise in a minute. I actually changed my mind on the thing we were going to do right before I started talking, because I think this one's a little more fun. And at the end of that, all we're going to do today, I want you to do the exercise, because I think it's spend 5 minutes running through it, because it just gets us thinking and our wheels spinning in a different direction. And it's really got little to do with change, but it does have to do with change when you read it. And I will take a picture of it and put it in the action item in the group. But I'll run through it just quickly and tell you what it's about. But your assignment today, your action item today, will really be just to share how you respond to change. Just, a sentence or two about your change process and how you respond to change right now. Not how you've done it in the past, like I shared, not how you think you might do it in the future, but how do you right now respond to change? And I'm super honest about it. There's still certain things that change that tip me over. I have worked really hard about the whole computer thing, and I know that sounds like a little thing, but I use the computer every single day, and I'm not super computer savvy, right? I am tech savvy, but not computer savvy. So, because I'm an engineer, so I know technical things, and physical things, but not electronic and computer and things like that. And so I get tipped over, and I've worked really hard over the last year to not get frustrated and just roll with the changes. And I notice how much better I feel about it and how much less stressed, because when something changes, I'm like, okay, I go immediately into, oh, this is different, this changed than what it was yesterday, so now how am I going to figure out what's my workaround? And I go immediately from observing the change to the solution. I don't have any of the nonsense and the emotion that used to be triggered in the middle of that. Kind of the same thing with road rage and traffic. I hate to admit it, but I used to get road rage when I drove a couple hours every single day and traveled all the time. It would depend on what was going on with me, right? And when I learned that road rage was all about me and how I was feeling, and that most people around me didn't have a clue or care, I let it go. And I was like, okay, well, that was a lot of energy wasted over the decades. But here's our activity for today, so I don't digress any further. It is number 60 in the Don't Sweat the Small Stuff workbook. I love this workbook by Richard Carlson, PhD, of course. And it is number 60, page 131. And it's called Turn Your Melodrama into Melodrama. And I love this because oftentimes when something happens or something changes, instead of downplaying it, we upplay it, right? We just intensify it and make it 100 times worse. And we really, you know, sometimes we want to do that if we're selling something or marketing something. We want to exacerbate the problem, but not in our own lives, right? We want to reduce drama. And I actually have a pin that says no drama on it that I was going to wear today, and I forgot to put it on because this is not the time to increase drama. If you are listening to people or following people in the world right now, and I'm talking the media, politicians, anyone that is increasing the drama and the nonsense around this pandemic, they are doing it for their own reasons, and you should avoid them like the plague. And remember them after this is over, because anybody that's contributing negatively to this situation should be held accountable, because you don't make a bad situation worse when it involves people's lives. Absolutely, positively don't. So let's turn our melodrama into melodrama. Let me grab this so I can see what the instructions say. Many people live as if life were a melodrama, blowing things out of proportion. Take the edge off your seriousness. Remind yourself that your life is not a soap opera. You are not on television. This is not a best-selling movie or a best-selling book. It is your life. Create what you want it to be. And then it gives different situations and asks you to, for each situation, feel how you might react to the melodrama, and then B, how you might make it a mellow, like less intense situation or drama. So let me give you an example. You just finished washing your car and it starts to rain. How would you react to that? Have you ever done that? Done that, been there, gone through the car wash, gotten out, been half a block down the road, and then boom, it starts to rain. You know what? My car is still cleaner than it was before, right? And so I still feel good about getting the dirt off, and the rain's just gonna give it another shine, another polish, another rinse, a second rinse. So I could get all upset, A, and freak out about it and be mad that I wasted the money washing my car, or B, I could say, oh, no big deal, my car will just get cleaner because now the dirt's washed off, so now this new batch is just like a second rinse. Might have to dry it later, but not a big deal, right? Let's look at a couple more. Oh, you had your heart set on getting a certain thing for your birthday and your loved one gave you something else. How do you react? A, how do you react? B, how could you react to make it less dramatic? So there are about, let me turn the page. There are 13 of these. I don't know why there's 13 of these exercises, a lot. But I might add a couple more of my own for the fun of it, but I'll make a copy of this. I'll take a picture of it. That seems to be the quickest, easiest way for me to do it. I'll take a picture of it, and then you can see it in the group underneath this particular video, and then you can share your comments, and you can share, hey, what did you learn about this? Did you learn something about yourself in terms of how you react, and are you creating more drama in your life than is absolutely necessary? I know I'm guilty of that sometimes, right? When it has anything to do with something that triggers me, say the ex, or something that doesn't go the way I think it should, I can still get triggered. But I like to take a deep breath and pull myself back in, rein myself in, you know? Whoa, little missy, rein yourself in, and then, or reel yourself in. I guess that's a fishing analogy. Rein for horses, reel for fish. Rein my emotions, rein my reaction in, and decide, well, how do I really want to react? Am I being who I want to be, or am I just reacting? I choose to be who I want to be instead of just reacting. That's it. That's all I've got today. Enough rambling. Go out, make it an absolutely amazing day. If I can help you in any way, ask in the comments below. If you have a question, hit me up with the questions. We will do a Q&A soon. And I was thinking today, it might be really fun to do some hot seats and talk about, if people are brave enough, your unique specific situation, and then just do a hot seat and then brainstorm how you can and what you can do right now to be moving yourself ahead. Like, I'm talking light years ahead, not just, oh, I could do this or I could do that. It's like, no, I'm going to do boom, 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 and that's going to guarantee that I am 10 times better off at the end of this month than I am right now. That's it. If you'd like to be in a hot seat, let me know that too below, or you can direct message me, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom. Take care, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow with another Get Up and Go activity to make sure that we all get through this together. Take care. Bye.